Welcome, this is Sananda. I'd like to begin by talking a little bit about your emotions. And do understand this about yourselves, that your emotional body is very beautiful. It may be that in your life you've sometimes experienced your emotional body as problematic. You can be, as they say, carried away by your emotions. Or you can find that some emotions are painful to experience. Grief, feelings of loss, for example. So you may find that your own feelings about your feelings are a bit mixed. And in that sentence, by the way, lies something quite interesting and important that we'll come on to in relationship to your emotions. But for now, let me continue to emphasize that your emotions are a very beautiful part of who you are, and it's certainly worth considering that one of the things you are doing as a member of the human race is developing the emotional body, evolving it, contributing to its evolution, with a long-term prospect. There is a purpose, you might say, within human consciousness that wishes to evolve to a state where the emotional body is very beautifully modulated, able to express and experience an immense range of emotions, subtle differentiations between particular emotions and within emotional states, so that as yet you might consider that your emotional body is comparatively undeveloped. You might say that it's, generally speaking, a bit less developed than the mental body and the physical body. And that's one reason why I emphasize its beauty. That you can experience such a rich range of emotions at the current state of human evolution is wonderful. There is more to come. And you are primary in evolving the emotions to this fuller expression of the emotional body's potential. From this you might understand that finding the emotional body challenging is not an indication of some sort of failure or lower state of evolution in you as a being. Far from it. As you learn to be at peace with the range of emotions that are yours, so you are evolving the emotional body. And as you encounter difficult emotions or stuck emotions and find ways of negotiating peaceful outcomes for yourself and others, you grow. You help the emotional body to develop. So from that point of view, difficult emotions are all grist to your mill. However, it's also really important to say that this does not indicate that somehow having emotional difficulties is a mark of superiority or elegance of being. No. I counsel against looking for challenging emotional situations. If they are part of your destiny, shall we say, they'll come and find you. to encourage you very strongly to, if you find within yourself a little bit of an addiction to strong emotions, to wean yourself from that addiction gently, lovingly. For this is one of the challenges that is present for humanity at the moment, and has been for a long while, that in a lot of different ways, so different emotions are involved, you can find yourself experiencing an addiction to strong emotions, positive or negative, because those strong emotions give you a sense of being alive. And one of the ways in which human consciousness is evolving in this age is that you are learning that you can experience a deep, full, rich sense of aliveness without requiring strong emotions. We might say that the natural baseline state of the human emotional body is joy. That joy can be strongly present, it can be mild, something that you're not particularly paying attention to, but aware of whenever you choose to tune into it. The quietness of that joy can sometimes be mistaken for dullness, boredom, nothing going on. And so, depending on your particular background, the way in which your energy field is constituted, for some of you that can then become a prompt to create situations which will stir up strong emotions. Doesn't matter whether they're negative or positive, those strong emotions give you the sense of being alive. So that's one way in which strong emotions can play a part in your life, but a part that you no longer really require. Strong emotions can be present in other ways too. In particular, as expressed in the question, you can find that strong emotions exist, in a sense, buried within you. They can be buried within the physical body, or more specifically, they can be buried within the energy field of the physical body and within the energy field of specific cells. Energies can get stuck within the emotional body. There can be an entanglement of the emotional body with the mental body or with the physical body, and that entanglement will create a stuckness in the emotions. So here is something else to understand about the nature of your emotional body. I've said that its base state fundamentally is joy. That's your natural state as a being at this level of existence. But it's also true that it is the natural state of your emotional body to be really very fluid, so that where there is an emotion that moves across the surface of the joyful ocean of your emotions, it moves quite quickly, quite easily. Your emotional body is a wonderful way of registering reality. This is one reason why I say that your emotions are beautiful, really beautiful. You respond through your emotional body to the world around you. And those responses can be as beautiful as a symphony, a wonderful painting, a rainbow. There can be a richness and a variety there that it can include emotions that you consider to be negative. For this need to describe emotions as either negative or positive is actually one of the ways in which the mental body and the emotional body become entangled. So here's an interesting way in which your emotional body becomes stuck, or emotions become stuck in your energy field or your physical body. What you can find is that you have what we might describe as primary emotions. This is what I feel. But then, very commonly within the human emotional body, you find secondary emotions. This is what I feel, but I shouldn't feel this. It's inappropriate. I feel guilty about feeling happy on this occasion, or sad on this occasion, or angry on this occasion. And so those secondary emotions, and there can be layers beyond that, but let's keep it simple. Primary emotion, this is what I feel. Secondary emotion, this is what I feel about what I feel. That second layer, that secondary emotion, is a brilliant way of getting stuck with particular emotions in your emotional body. And like sediment in a liquid, if that stuckness persists, if the flow ceases, the sediment sinks to the bottom, to the denser energies that make up your human presence, they move to the physical. So that here you can find that you can very readily associate particular emotions with particular parts of the body or particular organs within the body. You're familiar with the feeling of love and associating that with the heart, for example. It's a valid connection. There may be an association of an emotion like anger with the liver and so on. So there can be those general associations. And if you're finding that there are difficulties within a particular organ or a particular system within the body, one of the things that's very useful to look at is what emotions might be associated with that organ, with that part of the body, with that dis-ease. The dis-ease can be an absence of ease, of flow from emotion to emotion. And so if you find that there's a sense of storing anger, just to use that as an example, and not necessarily within the liver, that can be a typical place, but you can store anger in a place associated with a particular event in your life. Again, keeping it simple, if in childhood you were physically abused and you feel angry about the abuse, why shouldn't you? You may find that if you've not been able to wholly process that experience, if it lingers on as something that is unresolved, you may find that. And you look to the part of the body where you received that injury, there is anger locked in. It may be locked in comparatively superficially, it may be locked into the muscles. It may be that you hold that part of your body quite tensely. And you may detect it, so that it might be that if someone touches you on the arm where you were hit, in just that spot where you received the injury, you may find that you're moving into a feeling of anger and not quite sure why. This too is an important thing to consider in relationship to the emotional body. Continuing through with the example I'm just creating here. In childhood, you were unjustifiably hit on your arm. It was never resolved. There was never a resolution. No apology was made. You felt the injury was wholly unjustified. It was perhaps a false accusation. You get the picture. And there's still that pain there. You're holding it. You didn't get justice. It wasn't fair. It wasn't right. And it hurt. So there it is. And someone comes along entirely innocently and touches you on the arm just at that point, the exact point where you were struck with a stick. And because your ordinary day-to-day mind may not be consciously aware of the old injury, you may think that you've forgotten it. Oh, it's the past. That was long ago. No, I've left that behind. But that touch stirs up anger. And subconsciously you may feel a need to justify the anger you're feeling. And so you will hunt for a reason to justify the anger. And what happens is you create a situation, or you find in the current situation, that light touch on your arm, something to be aggrieved about. You'll find fault with the person who touched you, even though it's not really anything to do with, in any simple way, the way in which they've touched you in that moment. It's really about that time long ago. So this is another way in which you can detect stuck emotions. In the incident that I've created there as an example, it might be that it's only later that you're able to sit down and think, why did I lose it with that person? She didn't really do anything. It's a bit odd. We normally get on perfectly well. Did I just get out of bed on the wrong side? And you may find that you can direct attention, a gentle focus, a loving focus. Love, love, love is always going to be what frees the emotions, whatever it is has happened, whatever the scenario. But go back to that particular point on your arm where you were touched, the particular point where the stick hit your arm many years ago. And you may need to be patient. Sometimes you will bury painful memories deep. Sometimes they will be covered by layers of subsequent experiences. But if you're patient, if you're loving, if you're gentle with yourself, if you don't judge yourself, if you don't judge the other, you may find that by focusing on that point, imagining light all around it, directing love, that up comes the memory. You think, oh, it was that, wasn't it? That was so unfair and it hurt so much. What can I do now? The person who hit me is dead many years. Never mind. That being still exists. You can meet, you can go within, you can meet on the soul planes, you can say, it hurt, it wasn't fair. I need to tell you that I'm upset still about that. I felt really angry at the time, but you were so much bigger than me, I couldn't be angry at you, I couldn't do anything. Bit by bit, through a counselling process, you're both the client and the counsellor, you can bring peace. You may even find that you gain an insight. to what happened to the person who chose to hit you. Perhaps he was remembering an injury of his. But these things can travel through many generations. Perhaps all unknowing, you touched him somewhere where he'd been hit, and he lashed out without thinking. So if you wish to free stuck emotions, be generous to yourself, to all beings. Now, I've addressed that particular imaginary example through the mode of memory, recalling incidents. But it isn't the only way. You can learn, you are learning, to witness yourself more and more as an energy field, not just as a human body, not just as a collection of cells, not indeed just as an emotional body or mental body, but as a total energy presence here on earth. Just imagine now, as you listen to these words, doing this, relaxing your third eye, your inner eye, trusting yourself, letting your crown open, welcoming the love and the help of your soul, opening your heart to feel love for yourself first and foremost and for all life. And let your imagination step in and help. How are you to see an energy field? Each of you has your own way. Whatever the state of your energy field, one thing you can be sure of, it's not fixed. It is highly mobile. Maybe there are some stuck emotions, but even there is movement, there is change. But with that softening of your inner vision, that relaxing, and gently bringing the imagination in, letting your soul help, trusting yourself, you can sense where the energy is moving less freely than it might. And you can sit with that place, with love, with light. You can invite angelic help. You can be with the energy that you are. For the active mind, it might all feel a bit boring. You may find that emotion coming up. Never mind. You may find the mind is doubting. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't do this. Don't understand. Never mind that. Learn to be with yourself. Whatever your state, whatever your history, whatever your opinion of your abilities, be with yourself. Be love with yourself. Understand, too, that your emotions are not yours alone. And so another thing to bear in mind about the human emotions, the emotional body in particular, is that you are contiguous. That is to say, there is a connection between you and the emotional body of everyone else on earth. Emotions flow between people. You've all witnessed that. You've been at a concert, for example, where you've really enjoyed the music and everyone else has been getting off on the music and just having a great time. That emotional wave, the lift that you can feel, is personal, but it's multiplied by sharing it with one another. It can be a wonderful experience. But it's also true that it can be frightening. And one of the characteristics that almost every human being carries in the emotional body is the emotion of fear. This is a time for releasing fear from the human emotional body. You carry within you the fear of generations, your ancestors, all on earth who've preceded you, for many generations back. You have your own fearful memories. Collectively, humanity nearly didn't make it. Right now, you're creating circumstances that bring those fears up to the surface again. Not, I believe, because you are choosing to recreate disaster or new kinds of disaster, but because it is time to confront those fears. Confront them with love. One of the surest ways in which you can release fear from your own emotional body is letting your love travel back to your own past and the past of all of humanity and your own ancestors, everyone who's been on earth. Love them, love yourself, because you are here now. You are in the moment of power. Thanks to your ancestors, thanks to your own past endeavors, your own past experiences, thanks to all of humanity who went before you. Be grateful. But let them know. You can do this right now. Turn round, look back, the road you've travelled. Let your love go back, 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 all along that road. Say thank you. And I choose to leave fear behind. Imagine yourself putting fear down, all the fear you have carried, known and unknown, down on the road behind you. This is not the end of it. Then, when you can see it, invite all who have gone before you to join you here. And love those fears. Love every earlier version of yourself that feared. Love every human being who has feared. Bring the animals in as well. The plants, all life on earth. And join with everyone in saying, let all who choose now dissolve all past fear with love. Thank you for listening. Go well.